Well, hello, and welcome to Opal City Confidential, a Starman podcast, episode 16. And it is time to go back into space and see two more adventures of Prince Gavyn by Paul Levitz and the amazing Steve Ditko, Starman 2. I think it's amazing, and it's fun, and it's beautiful. And let's start with Adventure Comics 471. So, Adventure Comics 471, cover dated May 1980, executive editor Joe Orlando, cover artist Jim Starlin. Wow, that's cool. I love a Jim Starlin cover, and he is perfect for Starman, and I think he's really kind of good for Plastic Man, too. Starman story is called Starman Must Die, written by the amazing Paul Levitz, drawn by the legendary Steve Ditko, inked by Romeo Tangel. Wonderful choice to put on Ditko. Wonderful. I think I've said this before. Colorist Adrian Roy, letterer Gasper Saladino, editor Lynn Wine. This story, main character, Prince Gavyn, Mon Ntor, and Jedediah Rankin are in it. Lord Protector Oswin and Captain Crid, who is a pirate or a buccaneer. This story was reprinted in the Steve Ditko Omnibus Volume 2, and it's well worth being in that, because it is these are really good comics. I mean, I always did love them, and I'm enjoying rereading them, and it's been decades, as I've said. So let's just kind of go through this issue real quick. There is no synopsis anywhere, really, and I didn't really write one, so I'm just good, because it's a short comic. It's like 8 or 9 pages. We're just going to kind of go through it page by page, and I'm going to tell you very quickly, and, I'm going to skip, I'm not going to do every panel and everything, but just kind of give you what I thought of it real quickly. So the splash page starts with it's kind of like the title box or something. It's the same. It's used over and over again now, and I'm going to read it to you this time. I'll read it each episode to remind you, because I think it's good. I think it sounds great. He was a rumor to Imperial security, an elusive enemy to those who would disturb the millennial peace, and unknown to all, the most dangerous man in the galaxy hid a perpetual death sentence under the mask of Starman. And Oswin's asking his goons, or his scientist or minion, let's call them minions. Can none of you fools do as I bid, or show enough wit to hire someone who can? I must know Starman's secret. And then we got the credits down at the bottom. And they're all kissing his fanny. And then we cut to, on page 2, because this has got to be fast, because this is a short comic. We cut to this dead planets. The remnants of it are orbiting the sun, and Starman and Jedediah are training. And it's a really good sequence. It gives you exposition. They talk. We get an explanation of powers, its limitations. They build a rapport, a friendship, and I think it works. And then Montour comes in, and he tells them of a planet, Academe, that is training for merchant seamen, is under attack by Oswin's pirate fleet, slicing stuff to pieces. So Starman goes, he's going to save them, and he flies across. Jedediah gets in his little mini, it looks like Nemo, of the fish in the Disney cartoon-shaped spaceship, and they fly, and the head pirate gets out, and his name is Captain Crid instead of Captain Kidd, and he's this very Ditko-esque, pinkish red-faced giant bad guy, and him and Starman go at it, and it's pretty good. Starman comes down, takes some shots. He keeps shooting at Crid's armor, and Crid throws so many it just absorbs the power, and then he shoots all these missiles, and they're too many for Starman to stop. And then he gets his arms around Starman, and he's trying to break his back. And that's when Jedediah comes in, takes some shots. His ship gets shot down by Crid and has to be rescued by Starman. And Starman, what he does is he takes Jedediah out of his spaceship, drops him on the ground, and then melts the spaceship over Crid. And when it solidifies, he's trapped in there. And then everybody cheers them on. He takes Jedediah back home in a bubble that he has on his belt or somewhere on his person, and they fly off into space. And that's it. It's an 8-page story. I mean, that is really actually kind of, it was a lot of fun. It was like a Saturday morning cartoon. Nothing wrong with that. All right, let's move on to Adventure Comics 472. Okay. So this comic was cover dated June 1980. Executive editor Joe Orlando. Cover artists Ross Andrew and Dick Giordano. It's a good Ross Andrew cover. It's not as good as the Starlin cover. I like Ross Andrew. I kind of grew up some of his Spider-Man, some of the earliest Spider-Man I ever read. He's okay. I like him in certain cases. I'm not a big fan. This cover is just an adequate late 70s, early 80s DC cover. The story is called Only One Shall Survive. Writer Paul did. It's the same team: Paul, Steve, Romeo, Adrian, Gasper, and Len. And let's see who is in this one. Is there anybody extra? Montour Jedediah, Lady Mira, Queen Clarissa, Commodore Reichen, his first appearance. And they are on the Empress flagship, the Gryfalcon. And this has never been reprinted anywhere. This is the only place it appears. Well, I'm reading it on the app. I had the comics when I was a kid, but I'm reading it on the app. So let us take a look at this and kind of give you my 2 cents. Well, really, probably it's only worth half a cent. Whoops, just opened the wrong comic. Where did it go? There we go. There we go. It opened a Strange Adventure. They dumped some Strange Adventures, and I thumbed through the first appearance of Captain Comet today, and it was a blast. That whole comic was good. It's not a team book, but I made cover that whole issue because it was gorgeous. So this one starts with the same, title blurb, where that begins it, but then there's a add-on. Death and destruction, the naked aftermath of violent power, drifting like so much flotsam on the sea of stars. Yet the fate of 2 lives, dear to Starman, hang in the balance here, and only one shall survive. And he's flying through space, Starman, and he's thinking a few hours ago, this was the Gryfalcon, the pride of the Imperial fleet, the Empress' own flagship, and now it's just stardust. Might as well just be stardust. So he flies into it, and it's all smashed up. He is attacked by soldiers in, they look like 1950s flamethrower, asbestos suits and with flamethrowers. And they're shooting at him, and he puts up a shield, and he zaps a couple of them, throws some of them around. And he gets to this cylinder, and he's going to, that's it. He's here to rescue the cylinder, and it's like an escape pod, I guess, and he opens it. Montour shows up. Montour, you did it again, popping up out of nowhere. This time you need not credit me, my friend. And Jedediah is out the hole. You can see out in the hole in the side of the ship that Jedediah is in another spaceship. It looks like his little fishy one, except it's a silver dude. So they open up the crate, and it is his ex, Lady Mira, and she tells him what's going on. Someone carried off the Empress, and he's like, what, then my sister also lives? Well, let me go back to this. He's like, she's really upset. She's like, well, let's just say what Starman says. He's got her out, they've embraced, and he's going, I was scared, Mira, so desperately afraid you might not have lived. As was I, Starman, for when the aliens carried off the Empress, it seemed, carried off? Then my sister also lives? She may not live now, but she was alive when I last saw her. The aliens seized her, and since I don't know why we were attacked or why she was taken, I can only hope she lives. In that case, this is Starman again. That's my Starman voice today. In that case, my love, I must cut our reunion short and leave you in the care of my friends, while I see if luck will be on my side twice in one day. And he flies off. Hours later, there's on the guy front, Commander Reichen is getting on his men for not stopping Starman, and they go off to their ship. Starman tracks, I don't know how he's tracking it, but he follows them, and he is he finds this stuff floating around this alien world, and he touches it. He thinks it's a spaceship. This must be it, though. Okay, this is what he's thinking. He sees it. To me, it looks like chewed bubblegum or a cloud. Okay? This must be it. It looks like, even though it looks less like a heavy cruiser than a set of children's blocks drifting in space, but if this is the alien ship, I can't forget what it did to the Gryphon, and since it can probably do precisely the same to me. And he flies at it, and it takes him in, and there are all these like trippy 70s images. It's like a kaleidoscope, but it's a little too much for him. And then he touches a panel, and he can see the Imperial Palace, and he fires a micro radioactive burst into the circuits to feed back, which might lead me to her. And each cube he checks, and he finds each prisoner is attached. He finds that everyone has a prisoner in it, and they're all attached to this elaborate equipment. And he finally finds his sister. She is not been overwhelmed, and he rescues her, and they fly off in the pod. But the Admiral is ready to destroy it all. That was a little confusing. This was a really weird comic. I read it like 3 times, and I was, what's that? Is that a spaceship? Is it bubblegum? It's very trippy dippy. So, and it sets up a 2-parter for next week. Well, in a couple weeks when we cover this, a few weeks. Overall, they're both really fun. They are both, one was an 8 and one was a 9 page, so 17 pages. You get 2 quick, it's like watching a Saturday morning cartoon. A better written the normal Saturday morning cartoon. All right. So next week we will be back with Jack and Ted, Adventure Comics 68, and Starman, the epilogue after his adventure in Turk County. I'm looking forward to that. This is going up very late. This is going up on Thursday instead of Tuesday. There will not be a Legion this week. It will start back up next week. I will be doing JSA this weekend. JSA, the latest issue, Justice Society of America. I've got lots of things to talk about on that. And I'm going to cover, hopefully, the first appearance of Per Degaton in that episode on this weekend. All right, folks, as always, let's just get this. Let me get you back to what you're doing. Let me get back to what I need to do. It's Thursday night, and it's been busy, crazy. That's hence why only one episode, no Legion episode this week. So, as always, be safe, be smart, give someone you love a big hug, and read some comics.